A little bit less than a third. Okay. I think it's gonna work.
Since you got me all flustered and you changed, you gotta put that back in.
Remember how I told you I had ulterior motive? All right, well, as you know, I am somewhat of a YouTube celebrity of upwards of 10,000 subscribers. So I got a bunch of Q&As to do. I just got to answer just one real quick. I'm just going to do it. It says, "Hi, you're the best. Please teach mambo and salsa on too." I was just curious. Is there anything you have to say about that?
I got nothing. Which mambo?
So I openly admit that 90% of the reason I made this video was to fake flex that I'm any kind of dance famous on my friend who is actually dance famous. But while we're here, we may as well go over some comments that have accumulated over the years that the channel's been active. The fact that there's any comments to go through is a big reason that the channel has crossed 10,000 subscribers recently. I remember following a photography channel that wasn't one of the big guys, but still put out really good content, seemed to have a lot of interaction, and he had 10,000 subscribers, and I thought, okay, that's a place we could get to. We got there quicker than I thought, but even more important than the number is reading through some of the comments, and some of them were so nice I couldn't even include them, because like, let's be honest, these like YouTube person reads the comments, those videos are always like a little humble braggy anyway, but people seem to be getting out of the channel what I set out to provide. Which was when I was looking for Cuban dance videos on the internet, yes, I did not find the marriage of good representations of the dance along with a coherent explanation, and so that's what I set out to do. Hopefully we're able to strike that balance. I don't necessarily know if we're going to hit another order of magnitude, but I'm here for it, and I appreciate all the kind words, all the support. I would add one caveat based off of this comment here talking about using the channel to practice so you can dance with your girlfriend in Cuba. I don't know if it's a Cuban girlfriend, but just a general PSA, if you don't like arguing and you are using this channel to practice with your Cuban boyfriend, to practice with your Cuban girlfriend, and she offers something that is opposite to whatever I say in the video, just roll with whatever she says. If you do like arguing, please message me and we'll come up with a way to be contradictory to whatever she says. It's a personal favorite of mine. So one of the biggest requests early on was the song from a video of some social dancing in Miami. To my recollection, it was live music, but if you know what this song is, go ahead and leave a comment and let people know. Throughout this video, I will be encouraging people to comment because boy oh boy does it help the videos. Even if you comment and just say, hi, you're helping the videos. Another big request is for the music that I use in the videos or music to practice to, and there's two apps. For popular dance like Casino, and you just want like a general salsa track, or Son Montuno, where you can kind of manipulate the instruments. The one that I use is called Salsa Rhythms. You can kind of add the clave, add the drums, and kind of change things around and get in the habit of dancing to the music. It also has like number accompaniment that you can add. That's what I use for any of the salsa videos. For folklore, I use Percussion Tutor, which I mention in every video ever, but it has all of the folkloric, not just from Cuba, it's got stuff from Dominican Republic and Brazil and other places, but it has a pretty expansive library of folkloric rhythms for bata. It also has, rumba, guaguancó, Colombia, yambu, basically any Cuban non-popular dance. So what these apps are good for is teaching you to dance to the music, which is always the goal, but it ties into a big topic in the comments everywhere. Dancing to numbers is soloist, you don't need numbers. You have to do what you feel. If you're not Hispanic, you can't dance. So I just want to see if I can give a somewhat concise take on all that, because people are coming from all different backgrounds and levels that they're at, but the goal is always to try to obviously dance to the music, to have it come from somewhere within you, but different people are going to need to take different paths to get there. It boils down to exposure. If you grew up with a lot of music being played and dancing, and you're a musician, or at least you saw a lot of dancing and stuff like that, you're going to have a pretty good head start. It's going to be in you quite a bit more than someone who did not grow up with that exposure. And I would say to someone who's able to dance socially, doesn't know anything about a 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, and is dancing coherently and having the dances that they want to have, then sure, you don't need numbers. However, someone who is not coming from that background, it's like they're trying to learn a new language. If I grew up speaking English, even though I speak it badly, I don't know all the reasons why we use the words that we use, but someone who is coming from not speaking English, even if we get to a point where we're both fluent, they understand the underlying mechanisms better than I do. I've seen people who need to start with numbers, don't have a lot of feeling in the music, expose themselves to a lot of music and understanding how the dance works, how the music works, and they get to a point where they indeed are feeling the music and it's coming from within them. It just takes a long time and a lot of dedication. Maybe more difficult is somebody who has had that exposure and does kind of think that it should be coming from within them, but they're just not where they want to be as a dancer. And they have to do something that, in my opinion, is even harder, where they have to sort of let go of what they already know and this feeling like it should just be within them, and learn some of the nerdy stuff, the same stuff that someone who's never even seen casino before would have to do. But if they're able to do that and come out the other side of it, they're usually very strong dancers. And no matter which of the three of those people you are, whether you're brand new, never seen any dancing ever in your life, you totally grew up with it and feel it automatically, or you're kind of somewhere in between, that's where really a good goal to be is. A lot of the professional dancers that you see, maybe they grew up dancing, but they also learned the theory. And if you're able to unite those, you're kind of an unstoppable force. You can dance with more people, you can teach to a variety of people. And if you want to get creative, there's nobody that knows how to break the rules better than someone who knows all the rules. Which reminds me of one more thing that I've learned over the years, these expectations and pressures that people unnecessarily put on themselves, where someone will call up and say, I'm Latina, my hips aren't, it didn't make it there. Or it's supposed to be my blood, but it's not there. I'm the only black guy that doesn't know how to dance. I can't tell you how many versions of each of those phone calls I've gotten. So all I can say is, if you feel that way, you're definitely not alone. Putting that extra pressure on you is not gonna help you get where you wanna be. So you just kind of have to let that stuff go. If you didn't grow up dancing and listening to music, it's probably not just gonna jump out of your body. And taking some dance classes and having an open mind and knowing that it's a process, it can be a very freeing thing. But the best way to start is just being kind to yourself, because it can be a very stressful and anxiety-inducing experience otherwise. Speaking of anxiety, there's a couple people who have mentioned that the Afro-Cuban videos have been helpful in taking Afro-Cuban classes, which I would say if you're taking like a salsa class of any kind, it's generally gonna be a lot more relaxed and a different experience than taking an Afro-Cuban class with an Afro-Cuban dance teacher, to the point where I did consider making a video, how to survive your first Afro-Cuban class. And I don't know, if that kind of video would interest anybody, please let me know. I've gone back and forth with it, because anyone who's taken like a dance class where you're dancing by yourself, you're doing diagonals across the floor, you've got somebody kind of inspecting your movement, it can be pretty nerve-wracking. So in hearing different war stories about salsa dancers who jump into an Afro class and having it be a different physical and psychological experience than they were anticipating, maybe a little how to survive guide would be in order. So my first Afro-Cuban class survival guide was my idea, but in terms of the suggestions that we've seen so far, we've got one for Babalu, which is a popular one with the salseros. We've got a request for the two-handed turn version of some of the casino turns. So for me, that would be kind of like what I do in like level 2 classes. So after the level 1 casino with all the single arm turns, we had a whole second limb to be able to screw things up. More Afro-Cuban tutorials, including Elegua. We've got some of that. I don't know if that is for on like the members only portion, but we've done a fair amount of Afro-Cuban. We've got Ogun and maybe Ochosi and Elegua and Shango at least up there. So it might be a members only thing, but more Afro would be coming, especially if people comment that they want to see it. Son Cubano, we've got a couple son videos up. I did a Wawanko basics video that I think is pretty good about explaining all the basic footwork. I want to do one like that for son for sure, and just kind of go through the footwork individually. If you think that would be helpful, please leave a comment. Got a request for learning about the different toques and Afro-Cuban percussion. I would probably bring in a percussionist for that or two. The app Percussion Tutor does have a pretty good way of manipulating the different bata drums that you can get a feel for what's going on with the rhythm. Yeah, that could be kind of an interesting thing to do with a percussionist. If you'd like to see it, please leave a comment. Got a request for more videos in the circle with the names and some breakdowns. Coordinating adults is very hard, so at least like 6 people oh boy, that's rough. But I think we could do it. We could definitely do it if there were a lot of comments underneath requesting it. Just shameless. More timba, yeah, I think we could definitely do that. I'd really like to focus on body movement for that, so that'd be another one probably I would do like individually first and then add some partner work. But if you want to see stuff like that, leave a comment. There's someone appreciating a Well1Co video that I did probably during quarantine, and once the steps broken down, I would refer you to the basics of Well1Co video that kind of goes through things in excruciating detail like I like to do. I think it's pretty easy to follow. I don't think it's like terribly fast paced. Although one person said that that video is not worth 2 minutes. Oh, not even 1 minute. Sorry. Got a request for more bachata. The bachata that I like is the footy version. I like footy bachata. I haven't done a video in that in a while, but if there was call for it, indicated by comments below, we could definitely make that happen. Incorporating rumba into salsa. Yeah, that video got a lot of comments right away. I guess if that's something that people want to see, some partner work maybe, kind of would be cool, just sort of how to get in and out of it with a partner. That could be a cool video. If you think it would be a cool video, why don't you go ahead and leave a comment.
So one thing I didn't realize is how many people use these videos for educational purposes or teachers themselves. So I know several people who are teachers of school children say they put them on for their kids, which that's really rolling the dice. But there's other Cuban dance teachers or even people who are just starting out and thinking about teaching and building a community, which that's what you want to keep in mind for all of this. Is anything in terms of teaching is definitely through the lens of building a community, because that is really what you're doing. I'm gonna try to limit the answers that I give and keep them pithy enough that it's not gonna bore non-teachers to death. However, if you would like to see more content where I go a bit more in depth or anything even in the way of like a teacher training, please leave a comment. I think there's a lot of pitfalls I could help people avoid.
In terms of advice to give to students in order to help them make progress, if we're talking about beginners, one of the best things that you can do for them is frame the expectations properly. So if someone has tried casino before, at least seen it, is specifically searching out, I want to dance casino, they know what they're getting themselves into a bit more than somebody who just Googles, I want to learn the salsa dance near me, and it just happens to be a casino class that they walked into. You gotta let them know there are easier dances to learn. So I think, for example, learning line, a beginner can walk into a line class and learn a forward and back and a crossbody lead and be able to like functionally dance with a partner. You can go into a casino class for the first time and really not learn everything that it would take to have a coherent, very basic social dance, because there's just more positions, there's more movements, the footwork's a bit more intricate in my opinion. You gotta let them know that it's gonna take a while. So when you're learning anything at all, the progression is frustration, boredom, mastery.
I mean, that's something I saw on Facebook. I just happen to agree with it. But just by the nature of how things work, frustration and boredom, that's where you're gonna be living for most of this.
It's just the way it is. You just have to set accurate expectations. In terms of how I structure the classes, for a beginner class, I try to really emphasize throughout the whole series being able to step underneath your center, transferring the weight. So I go through those like 5 basic steps that are in the video that I made forever ago that really took off and is the reason that this channel has any subscribers at all. There, in terms of partner stuff, I try to teach them guapea and dile que no as quickly as possible, as properly as possible, so that they can get to a point where they feel like they're dancing and can start learning turns. I start with siete because it's one of the easier turns and then go from there. All the videos of everything that I teach in a level 1 class are available in the members only section. The videos go through how to practice alone or with a partner, as well as an overview of what the move looks like.
And then on 7, very important part is that I get her back with my right hand. When she feels that, she can put her arm on my shoulder. I'm gonna start with my left foot, per usual. She's gonna start with her right foot. We're gonna take 3 steps, 1, 2, 3, and then pivot on the pause. Trick is we don't want to shift the weight on the pause, just pivot. And I think those videos are pretty good, whether you're trying to just learn the basics or start out teaching. You could walk a small group of people through those videos and you would have like an instant student base or starter community to get things rolling with. Leading into the next question, what do you think is the most important trait in a teacher, whether it's charisma, technique, etc.? If someone was coming purely just, I want to learn the best sewn technique possible, you could have the personality of a paper plate and they'd still come back to your classes because they're operating from a place of dedication. Based on the nature of what we teach, ultimately we teach social dancing. Most people are not going to be coming from a place of pure dedication like they would be if they were learning ballet or they wanted to compete in ballroom. The classes still need to be fun. They need to feel motivated to go there. And what can fill in a lot of that gap is community. And the way I think that you cultivate a community is you have to start off by being at least some kind of authentic version of yourself. The people that have been coming around to my classes, I looked around, some of them have been coming for like close to 10 years. They can all at least tolerate, different aspects of my personality. And if they can do that, they might find common ground with each other. And that's gonna start to kind of organically establish this culture for your classes. And that's helpful because you can kind of guide it and like prune it like a bonsai to create what you're after. And so I know when people show up to my classes, if they're cool people who have a good attitude, they're gonna feel right at home. And if that's not where they're at, the prevailing culture of your classes is gonna kind of show them, this is how we do it here. You're such a little cutie. And at the end of the day, you gotta do that by being yourself. In terms of how I structure the classes, like level 1, level 2, or just kind of throw everybody together, let's go backwards like a Tarantino movie. What I do now, the classes are established enough that there's enough people at different levels. I can run like an 8-week session for level 1, 2, and 3, and maybe like some folklore or some like body movement into progressive class series for each one. That allows things to be very organized and have a focus that's fitting for a particular group of people, and we can get a lot done. That was not how things were when I started out and was trying to just get people in the door. Line salsa was much more, and still is much more popular. Hey, careful, be careful. So I was pretty desperate to get students in the door and show them what casino is and why they should dance it and how much fun it is. And the way that you show people how fun it is by having a room full of people who can all dance casino coherently, even if it's at different levels. And there's a couple speed bumps along the way that prevent people from being there. There's gonna be a big divergence of abilities for these new people. There's gonna be people who have coordination, have rhythm, can step underneath themselves, find the beat, all that. And there's gonna be people who do not have those things. And you need to be able to help those people separately. So this is what I did. New person walks through the door. This is my first time. Intro class, 30 minutes. We're gonna just go over the basic steps, just dancing by yourself. And by the time those 30 minutes are up, you're gonna be able to tell whether that person is ready to move on or not. And if they're not, I offered the intro classes as like a one-time fee of like $20 for unlimited. So they could come back week after week after week until they felt comfortable with the rhythm, and then they could kind of move on. And after the intro class, if you want to keep it to like 1 hour, if you can find someone to help you out teaching, you can kind of split up the big group of people dancing casino and then the people who need to learn a little bit more of the basics of the partner work. You want to get them over the next hump, which is dile que no and guapea, and maybe some of the basic turns like enchufa and basile. But after that, once they can get there, then they can join your group of people that are hopefully dancing pretty decent casino that you can take video of and all that stuff. Believe it or not, that's the pithy version, but let me know in a comment if you want to go over more teaching stuff in detail, because I can. Do you do this for fun or do you charge for lessons? This is all I do for my living because I make bad decisions. The YouTube thing started off, like I said, just to kind of offer a resource for people. And I quickly realized that it takes a lot of time. I don't even want to think about how many hours it's gonna take to edit this video. What I did find out though, is that I presumed that YouTube was for people who are far away. But I realized that I've had people in classes who I found out like after the fact, they found me on freaking YouTube, which I think is pretty weird. So, the YouTube thing has definitely paid dividends. I'm about to shamelessly beg, by the way, to go different places and guest teach, so prepare yourself for that. But yeah, I've also done a lot of like Zoom privates, and not just during like all the lockdown stuff, like I've continued to do them and had some good luck with those. So if anyone's interested in that, definitely let me know. Finally, something I can practice alone. Yes, there's videos out there that are designed for solo practice.
I'm not really a deep thinker, but for a lead follow dance, it is kind of strange that the lead can be replaced by a wooden stool.
And in the members only videos, I put a section just for the lead's footwork, just for the follows footwork, and with the couple, so that if people want to practice alone, they can practice alone. And if they want to practice with a partner, they can practice with a partner. I am happy you found me too, and I am located in Greensboro, North Carolina, and I teach in Durham, North Carolina. Your sister just moved to North Carolina. Well, come on by if you visit her. It is a pity that you're in the UK, but as I mentioned before, Zoom. And also what I'd really like to do is like a 6 or 8 week session that meets online. So definitely Zoom would be part of it, and maybe videos that people can kind of practice on their own during the week. But I would love to do that for like an intermediate casino kind of a thing to start, and maybe a body movement thing where it'd be individuals that do it. But that one, if you would like to participate in like an online session, 6, 8 weeks, something like that, please leave a comment for that. Otherwise, I'll just stop wasting my time daydreaming about it. I would love if anyone from YouTube with some casino experience or whatever were to drop by where I teach. Just give me a little heads up first. I see you, Argentina. One day we could do classes together. If you want to jump in that online session, you just let me know. Would you ever come to DC? Of course I'd go to DC. I'm close to DC, kind of like 4 or 5 hours or something like that, depending on your god-awful traffic. You got some really great people up there. DC Casineros are up there.
Y estamos de vuelta con más Top 20 Herencia Hispana. Y nos encontramos con los fundadores de una compañía, DC Casineros, que se dedica a una fusión de bailes y ritmos cubanos.
They're awesome, but I would still go there. Hugs from Iceland. Man, that would be a dream to go to Iceland. I mean, I know you weren't offering, but God, I would love to go there. Would love to get out to Durham, currently in Nashville. Well, heck, I could go to Nashville if I were invited to go help teach somewhere, just saying. And this, no offense, is the crown jewel right here. This was like 3 seconds before COVID lockdowns. Been following your series and find it very informative. I love Rueda de Casino. Believe it or not, we have a small community here on the big island of Hawaii. We also have a big community that participates in other Latin dances. I would love to host you for some beginner workshops around the island. Let me know if this is something you would consider. Yeah, I'll have to think about it real quick. Like 2 days after this, people are like, hey, you're never leaving your house for well, I know, it was 2 weeks. And like this person during quarantine was just like, yeah, it'll be over soon. This ain't gonna last long. That didn't age well. But man, did that throw a monkey wrench in me getting laid. Sorry. There's no better way for me to end this video than saying I would love to go to Hawaii. Good God, please call me immediately, if not sooner.
A ton more comments to go through. My OCD made me start at the very bottom and just scroll all the way up and scroll and scroll. So there will be a part 2. It will probably be live because I forgot what a pain in the ass it is to edit videos requiring a lot of B-roll. Hopefully I'm gonna have a partner because there's a lot of show stuff kind of questions. It's gonna have some Semba and Kizomba because there was a lot of questions in that area, which was really cool. In the meantime, please know I appreciate all your support. Like I said, the 10,000 subscriber thing was a goal from way back. The shameless begging for comments does help the videos in the algorithm, but also lets me know where to put my efforts for future videos. So if there's something that you want to see on the channel, please do leave a comment. Also, please keep commenting so that I can go to Hawaii. I'm just kidding. The most popular question, I guess, is what to do in Miami. So for classes, go visit these 4 people. Everything I said about teaching, not to mention everything else on this channel, ultimately comes from them. For where to go dancing, go to Ball and Chain, go walk around Coyote. So there's live music everywhere. Go grab somebody that looks like they didn't learn how to dance in the studio and try stuff from the channel. It should work. If it does, let me know. Peace.